In this video, we're going to talk about the benefits of participating in a chamber music ensemble, as well as a few ways that you can get started. A chamber ensemble is a musical group with usually 3 to 10 players. It's a small group and everyone plays their own part. If you're watching this, I'm assuming that you probably have had a little bit of experience playing in a large ensemble. Whatever kind of experience that is, if you're looking for a great way to grow as a musician and a human being, chamber music is for you. I will be referencing instruments, but it's important to note that vocalists can be chamber musicians too, as well as piano players, wind and string players, percussionists, guitarists, and pretty much anyone who plays an instrument or sings or makes music of any kind. So why is chamber music so great? Number 1. Accountability for all players. In chamber music, everyone plays their own part. This means that everyone has an equally important role to play. Likewise, if someone gets lost, that means that their part is not played. In a larger ensemble, this can go unnoticed, but in a chamber group, players have to be able to rely on each other. Why is this important? Sometimes in a large group, lower players can tend to rely on others to strengthen their parts if they're not feeling confident about what's on the page. I am personally guilty of zoning out as a clarinetist in a band when there's 8,000 other clarinet players, and I just kind of let the part play itself with the whole mass group mentality. Chamber music gives you no such option. You need to be awake, aware, and accountable. Chamber music often places players outside of their comfort zones, and that is a huge precursor to growth. The greatest part is that everyone in the group is in that position and everyone understands. Number 2, no conductor. Oh yeah, no one in charge. This means that there is the space to benefit from everyone's expertise, not just one person. Rehearsals become a collaborative exploration of work, and players can take brain or chop breaks, or they can get to know each other as the day goes by. No conductor means that players have to be able to rely on visual cues from each other. This means that they have to know what's happening in the music beyond just their part, and that ties into the accountability piece from before. From there, grow the skills of nonverbal communication, which is a positive side effect of chamber musicianship. No conductor also means that the group has to decide how to play certain things. Instead of just one person deciding, everyone has to come to a consensus. How do we tongue these notes? How loudly do we crescendo there? Who's going to stand out in this part? The group has to decide. Number 3. Flexible format. I play the clarinet and the trumpet. When I moved to the Central Coast, I found a group that needed me on clarinet, but it took me 4 years before I found a group that had an opening for me to play trumpet. Turns out that group was a trumpet choir. That's beyond the point. There are a lot of trumpet players. In chamber music, you don't have to worry about all the ensemble seats being filled. You fill them yourself. Does that mean that I am tied to playing in a woodwind quintet on clarinet or a brass quintet on trumpet? No. There's all kinds of repertoire for mixed ensembles like clarinet, strings, piano and trumpet. There's all kinds of stuff for that. In a chamber situation, I can play with string players and I'll learn something new. I can play with pianists. When I did my senior recital on clarinet, I played with a vocalist. I learned so much about balancing my sound with a vocal sound. It's really different and it's really cool. One of my best friends plays the tenor saxophone, and we have a duo where I play flugelhorn. She's also a music teacher, so we switch instruments from time to time. Just fun. Number 4, opportunities for each musician in the group to shine. One of the frustrations I have when I play in a large ensemble is that often the only people who get to play solos or really cool expressive parts are the top players, the people who have been there the longest or the people who are the quote-unquote best. And maybe that's deserved, but I also would like to be able to hear everyone play. In many pieces written for chamber group, like the majority of them, especially in the brass and woodwind world, in my experience, everyone or nearly everyone gets a part where they can shine and be expressive. As a listener, I love to be able to admire the beautiful tone and sound of each player that I'm watching. And as a player, nothing gives me more joy than to be making music with colleagues on a level playing field. Number 5, opportunities to increase your flexibility as a player. At least in the wind world, because this is my experience, there's chamber music arranged for every style imaginable. There's chamber music to suit every mood, and it doesn't all have to be string quartets for weddings. I've played jazz in a string piano, clarinet trio, sambas in a brass group. I've played all different styles of music. It's super, super fun. It's really, really fun to explore different styles with the colors that you have. And that's just repertoire. I haven't even talked about increasing your flexibility as a player, playing with lots of different kinds of players. I love playing with strings, winds, vocalists, any kind of instrument sound that's different from my own. I work to adapt and compromise so that we can support each other as a team. I'm a music teacher, and I feel like I am not being a responsible music educator if I'm not seeking out that kind of experience. Because I want my students to go out in the world and have the tools to be able to make music in any style. So I need to show them what's possible. Number 6, the ability to mobilize. A chamber is just an old way to say a room. Chamber music was invented to be played in a living room or any small space. Would you be able to get your full-sized wind ensemble to play in a living room? Probably not. But with your horn trio, yeah, you guys can go play in a winery if you want. You can go play in the park. You can play outside a shopping mall. It doesn't matter. You can play anywhere you want. That's the beauty of chamber music. You don't have to have an official performance time or rehearsal time. You can be flexible on the terms of the players and what's available to them. You can have spontaneous collaboration. Like my friend and I just say, hey, you want to play some chamber music today? All right. And we do it. Spontaneous collaboration is a beautiful aspect of music making that we don't see very often in this world. And I would love to see it continue. I would love to see it continue as I get older and as I see my students grow up. If you're considering playing in a chamber ensemble, I would encourage you to give it a try. There are a few ways to do this. You can ask friends to play duets or trios. You can look in a method book and see there's usually duets in a method book. You can look at guitar tabs or charts, that lead sheets that have one line, and you can fill chords in from that to make arrangements. You can buy repertoire for your combination of instruments or for just any two of a like instrument. There's lots of stuff out there for duets for treble clef. There are also workshops that you can sign up for, and I highly recommend this because this is a huge step in building your network of chamber musicians and making new friends and learning about what already exists in the chamber music world. There are a few workshops that I know of around here in California, and I can link to those down below. I'll mention them briefly. The one that changed my life was the Brass Chamber Music Workshop in Humboldt County, at Humboldt State University, where I went to school. There's also another chamber music workshop there at Humboldt. There is CALCAP, which takes place in Sacramento. These are all summer workshops. In Santa Barbara, which is only an hour south of where I live, there are two chamber music workshops throughout the school year. There's one in November and one in March, and I enjoy playing in both of those as well. Have you ever played in a chamber music ensemble before? What was your experience like? Are you struggling to find people to play with? And how can I help? Please let me know in the comments, and I'll keep making notes and embellishments. In the meantime, stay mindful, stay musical, stay out of trouble.